Welcome to Hotline TV. I'm Quinn McCord.
And I'm John Mercurio. Just 5 days away from the Virginia Democratic gubernatorial primary, the Hotline has sent our crack reporter Evan McMorris Santoro down to our Northern Virginia bureau. We didn't have not a lot of money for this bureau. Land, real estate, very expensive in Northern Virginia, Fairfax County. So the bureau is technically on 495. Evan, can you hear us?
I can. There's a lot of slow-moving traffic near me.
Well, that's
shaking because of traffic.
That's a big problem that they're talking about during this race. All right, 5 days away from this race, polls showing a lot of tightening in the race. First of all, I know we want to talk about the television ads that are up now in the DC media market, which is a big development in and of itself. But first of all, talk about the polls. What are they showing us we could be looking at on Tuesday?
Well, the man is Creed Deeds. Get to know the name. He's surging in all the polls. He's rising up. He's now sort of declared front runner. Sorry, I had to reach out into our bureau to grab this piece of paper.
Sure.
Yeah, he's declared front runner pretty much on all the polls that we've seen. He's had a huge surge since he got the Washington Post endorsement. He's been riding that since then. He's been his signs in Northern Virginia have got the Post at the top. He's talking about the Post on TV. He's got the Post on TV ads. And he's using that to his advantage. It seems that he's taken a lot of people away from McAuliffe and moving up into the leadership of this race.
But the numbers are really soft, right?
That's right. That is right. I mean, it's true that at this point, almost half of all these guys' voters are saying that they could change their mind still. So we still have 5 days. Anything can happen.
And McAuliffe is leading in at least some polls, I know, right?
That's right. I mean, he put out a poll yesterday that he suggested that he was leading, but it was a very small amount. So, I mean, it's pretty much a dead heat, but the fact that Deeds has risen up so much to be in this place that he is now is a huge change.
Here's one question I have. It does seem, sadly, that Brian Moran seems to be trailing in most of the polls except his own.
Look at you. You're in the bag for Moran.
I know. But, you know,
he loves an Irishman.
My assumption was that if Brian Moran, you know, to the extent he's in the race, he hurts Deeds more because he draws from the anti-McAuliffe vote. But I know you've said that Moran might actually hurt McAuliffe more.
Well, I mean, Moran is from Northern Virginia, which is where McAuliffe wants to make a lot of his votes up. And also, Moran's spent a lot of his time specifically targeting McAuliffe exactly where McAuliffe is hoping to get votes, in Hampton Roads and Norfolk area. That's where his negative TV ads are up. That's where he spent a lot of his money and time. I think that Moran at this point, I think, is sort of, if I had to say, I think he's probably out to sort of do some damage to McAuliffe, maybe knock him off that pedestal.
All right, let's look at some of these new television ads being run in the D.C. market. First of all, this one by Creed Deeds.
On June 9th, which Democrat has the most experience to carry on the policies of Mark Warner and Tim Kaine? The Washington Post says it's Creed Deeds. Deeds would make transportation his first priority. He's pro-choice.
Interesting. All right, the Washington Post ad you just mentioned, clearly a big deal to Deeds. What is it? And it's helping him in the polls.
Oh, there you go. I mean, it's a standard bio ad that he's been running, but it focuses again right on that message of being able to unite all of Virginia together, which is what he's been talking about a lot lately, that he can go, all corners of Virginia come together under him. He knows the South, he knows the North, and the Washington Post is what bolsters him saying he knows the North.
And he's pro-choice, which is probably not something he would mention in his own state Senate district.
Well, that talks about sort of what the issues he might have still coming out of the, the rural part of the state, that Northern Virginia voters, who he's competing for now, might still consider him too conservative to vote for.
All right, let's look at the Terry McAuliffe ad. The real money man in the race, in the Democratic race, has been Terry McAuliffe. He's out with this ad. Let's take a look.
False personal attacks never created a job, but one candidate for governor has.
I'm Terry McAuliffe. In my own businesses, I've created thousands of good-paying jobs. That's what this election should be about, creating jobs right here. That's why we've got to change Richmond.
All right, interesting, because a couple of weeks ago, McAuliffe was considered the clear front runner. You saw in the debate, the News Channel 8 debate, that he was the one who was attacked. Brian Moran, really, though, is still attacking him, and McAuliffe's responding to Moran with this, saying, attack ads don't ever create jobs. I've got ideas, blah blah blah. Is that resonating? Do you think back down in on the 495 Beltway Bureau?
Well, of course, it's hard to tell here. To take a poll now, people driving back and forth, listening to Hotline podcasts on their iTunes. But I'm not sure about this because, on the one hand, McAuliffe people have said they have these kind of ads in the can. They're sort of ready for this kind of attack and sort of ready to respond to these attacks. But on the other hand, I'm not so sure that he can say he's getting negative attack ads against him. I mean, some Moran stuff is harder than what we've seen coming out of McAuliffe, who's talked about being the all-positive candidate. But talking about record seems like fair play to me, and I'm not sure that McAuliffe saying this is like a big attack ad against me is really such a great idea. Also, it raises the specter of the 3 a.m. ad, which Moran has already used against him too, the 3 a.m. ad from Hillary Clinton against Obama.
And it's clearly not true that negative attacks don't create jobs, because they've created a lot of jobs among these 3 campaigns.
That's exactly right. That's so
sorry, we're
profound.
fact-checking here.
We're fact-checking, but we are unfortunately out of time for today, guys. 5 days, as I said, until the Virginia Democratic gubernatorial primary. I can barely say it. I'm so excited. But that's it for Hotline TV. Evan, be careful out there on the Beltway, and we will talk to you soon. We'll see you all later. Thanks for watching Hotline TV. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.